Everybody, do we think? Carrie, Monica, Harriet, Cressica, Bill. Anybody else there or not there?
Toby and Dick.
Shelby and Dick. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw Dick. Okay, cool. All right. Holly is not there.
No.
Okay, okay. All right, cool. Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining today. So I'm gonna try to make this pretty quick. I have to hop off around actually a little bit early, like at 5:45, but I think we have a pretty brief schedule for today. So if I have to leave before we're finished, which is a high possibility, I nominate Bill to finish the meeting, but hopefully it shouldn't be that long. So, all right. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. So, calling to order, we have a quorum of at least 5 members. I know Josh and Holly are out. We have everybody else. That's great. So in terms of the minutes from last month that Carrie wrote up, does anybody have any questions or concerns with the minutes?
Move to approve.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All in favor of approving?
All right, since we have a member voting from Zoom, we have to do roll call.
Okay. All right. I'll do the roll call then. Myra Sinnott, aye. Monica Mullins.
Aye.
Okay. Harriet Baring.
Aye.
Toby Martin.
Yes.
Great. Dick DeGrasse.
Here.
Cressica Brazier.
Yep.
Bill Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, that's everybody, right? Okay.
Who seconded that motion, by the way? I did. Thanks.
Great. Okay, we got minutes done. All right, so let's go on to our updates on the energy efficiency, on just projects in general. That's kind of the meat of our meeting today anyway. So Bill, do you or others who are working on energy efficiency projects, do you have any updates to share?
There are no energy update projects that don't fall under the aegis of the Energy Hub and the prize activity, and that will probably come later. This heat pump that was not working is now working. It's been repaired, so that pretty much puts to rest that. Cressica, if you don't mind, I'll just say the lights in the that's under her aegis, but the lights in the fire station are now working, and we assume it was the short circuit, the loose circuit that we thought it was, but we don't really know.
Okay.
I did noticing, Josh pointed it out in the last fire meeting last Monday. I'm not sure if it's been fixed yet, but one of the lights that was fixed wasn't improperly reinstalled. So it's currently hanging from the ceiling, and you can actually see the nuts and bolts inside of the light fixture. I can check after this meeting. I can go in and see if it's like that, or if it's been repaired.
It just never ends, does it?
Where is that?
In the fire station above the ambulance, the first ambulance.
Let's talk about that later.
Okay.
If we have a tall ladder, we'll just fix it.
Okay,
In
sounds
addition
good.
to the work that was fixed,
Yes, when they went to go fix the circuit, because one of the lights wasn't working at all, they didn't reinstall one of the fixtures to the ceiling, so it's just hanging from 2 bolts instead of the 4.
so who was in charge of that repair?
The electrician who did the work.
No, but I
Joshua
mean,
Koch.
it was fixed supposedly, who did the fixing?
The,
It was Paragon Electric.
electrician who did the work. He
Yeah,
came.
Paragon Electric is the person that fixed it, and so they're the ones that will need to fix that too.
So are we gonna get a bill for that?
No, because they're just fixing things that they already installed.
Oh, okay.
They get their own bill of more ferry tickets. Okay, great. Thanks, Bill. Anything else? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off if you had something else, but
Nothing else.
okay. And in terms of like the fire public safety projects update, I mean, Josh said, obviously, and Monica too, you just said the lights were fixed in the fire station, and I don't think there's anything else on that so far. Anybody else have anything on the public safety or fire station stuff? Okay.
No.
Sounds good. All right, energy prize update. Cressida and Kizzy, and I see Kizzy's here as the Islesmere Energy Hub and our awesome, love the logo. Looks really good. So do you all want to give us an update on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So I made a handout that everybody can peruse later about the activities that we've been able to accomplish in the past month. The main ask that we have for the committee members is anybody who has worked with contractors or installers on any sort of energy project, if they could share with us like that information and hopefully the quote for that project, because we're trying to understand the costs of making these upgrades on the island so that we can start to, you know, be able to talk to people better, but also to apply for grants. And thank you, Harriet, for sharing information. Thank you, Myra, for sharing information. So yeah, we're on our way to understanding those costs for island installations, but we have a ways to go.
How far back do you want?
Definitely not pre-pandemic. I've already found some anomalies,
Yeah.
so
We're having our electrical service upgraded also, so I can.
that would be great. That would be, yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Were you looking for exactly the contractor information?
We're looking for, okay, so any kind of insulation, heat pump, water heater, any kind of electrical service upgrade, EV charger. Yeah, anything that might support, either, home weatherization or electrification. Yeah, basically, we're looking for, yeah, the names of contractors who have done that kind of work, as well as, you know, if we can get information about the cost, that would be fantastic.
And insulation. I think you said insulation. If you didn't, there you go. Insulation.
Yeah, definitely insulation. We're very interested in that.
I haven't called Patrick, I will do that.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, so in the activities we've done since our last meeting, we had a home energy assessment day. And we're planning more of them. And we met with Evergreen in order to plan those assessments. We're also going to be meeting with Revision. Myra is spearheading that in terms of pushing the solar and virtual power plant plans forward. We're planning the window inserts community build with the Island Institute. We've had 2 meetings that we've covered that in to a certain extent. And we've had basically a bunch of other meetings for input from a variety of community members. And we're doing a lot of outreach, and we're starting our home energy surveys and upgrade plan testing now. We have a pilot survey, and we'll be sending that out to the committee in hopes that you all help us be guinea pigs for that, so that we can kind of, make it into a kind of good system that is not too onerous for people, but also gives good feedback to people. And then a lot of the ongoing upcoming activities are ones that I presented last time, but also we have the opportunity to participate in a in-person training session in Colorado in January, and Kizzy has volunteered to represent us there. Thank you, Kizzy, for going to Colorado in the middle of winter.
Yay, thank you.
So that'll yield a lot of good networking and information for us, and also allows us to go back to NREL, where Bill went before.
Yep.
So that's about it in terms of, where we're, the major updates.
Great, thanks, Jessica. I know, Toby, in an email, you said that you were interested in knowing kind of like if there's any sort of community events being planned for the year. And I think at this point, as far as I can tell, Jessica, you correct me, but we don't really have like a specific plan at this point, and we're just kind of trying to get through the next, get into like deeper winter and try to kind of get our hands on like the community engagement over an event. But I don't know, Jessica, if you want to add briefly to that.
Yeah, we're starting to plan them, but we are gonna work out a proposal soon.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. The municipal building, any updates there, Jessica?
Not really. They are hard at work with the new construction manager, that they selected last month. Wedgewood Construction, and yeah, they're moving along on that. So hopefully we'll have a good result soon from that, so that they can start construction.
Yeah, totally. Okay, that's good. Thanks. Okay, Dick, you had asked,
Excuse me,
Yeah.
is everything gonna go according to budget, according to that plan?
That's what we're waiting on to see what their, guaranteed maximum price is.
So
Yeah.
they've got enough money to cover their expenses?
We'll find out once the quotes are in, like, it's out for bidding right now. We'll find out when they bring back the bidding results in the next few weeks.
The practical answer to that is, when does anything ever go by budget? Ever.
Right, but it would be great to narrow it so that no disasters happen,
But we have no control of that.
you know.
yeah,
do
thank
know
God
that-
that's not our baby. Whew.
Ledgewood is doing this initial part of the bidding process, at their own risk. They will not charge the town if they can't get
Oh,
it
wow.
within a budget.
That's great.
So the plan is the budget will be okay and everything will go
We don't
according
know.
to the timeline?
There is no answer to that at this point. We wait to see how it happens.
You can't know if we're gonna go over budget if they haven't given you a bid yet. If we don't know how much they're gonna spend, we don't know if it's gonna be over budget. We're waiting for what they're gonna be spending, what they're projecting to spend, if we'll know if it's in budget or not. We don't know that.
Exactly, Monica.
Yeah, it's a premature question. There's no answer
Yeah.
to it. It's
We
like-
don't have an answer yet. Okay. So I wanted to, so the next topic is, Dick had asked me to put a little time on our updates for any sort of policy or rate updates. So Dick, do you have any updates for us?
Can I ask a question regarding solar before I get to my piece? And
Well,
that
your
is,
piece is here, but what was your question? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
I wanted to find out how far along we are with any solar planning and whatnot, because it's something that's developed with respect to the utility system that might affect the design of the solar system.
Okay.
And I'll read you a quote from the, if I can find it, here we are. As you know, we have Constellation is the power supplier for the municipality and 10 accounts here, and possibly some others at some point in time. And the question was, the answer for our question about whether or not Constellation could supply an off-peak power rate for storage elements to go with a solar system. And the answer from the Utility Commission is that, quote, "We are not aware of any prohibition on a CEP, which is Constellation, providing supply service on a time of use basis." You would need to speak with Constellation and CMP, of course, with regard to respectability and metering. So we should not design any solar system for this island until we evaluate the availability of off-peak power for storage element to accompany the solar system.
We're at least a year, maybe 2 years from designing any solar systems.
That's
so,
what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I see it referred to all through here.
Yeah,
And the question is, where are we in the design process? And where are we?
No, we are at the preliminary stage
yeah. So, yes,
of developing an energy independent solar
yes.
network.
And how does it, where are we just on the, have we had any calculations on the designs or anything like that at this point? Or
No,
is it
we're
just-
doing, site selection,
That's what?
site selection.
We're still trying to find a good site.
Where we can put it.
Oh, okay.
So,
There was a point where Cressica, not Cressica, but Janice Brutz and I, looked at sites, on West Bay Road for this. And I would assume that that site is still possible.
Yeah.
I have not talked to the owner of the site in 6 months, but there was a time when I did talk with them. And, it was a possibility, but there was a death in the family or some problem with the family prevented it. But we should, keep the fact that we might have a favorable rate structure in mind for that particular thing, particularly for the ferry.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what we're not.
Well,
So Dick,
we're,
what will
I
the,
was-
Go ahead,
who's
Toby.
talking?
go ahead, Joby. I'd say something, but you go
determine-
first.
The availability of the power.
The Constellation would be offering power on an optional basis for time of use. In other words, the power at night would be much cheaper presumably than it would be in the normal rate.
Does it go through the PUC or does it go
No, it does
through?
not have to go through the PUC at all.
Okay,
They can make, that's the reason we have them Constellation as a supplier and not special, standard offer.
so is it basically an engineering issue or not?
Yes,
Okay,
the answer is yes. The standard offer has been replaced in the municipal, finding at this point by Constellation, at least for the next year, maybe longer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been good. Cressica and Kizzy have heard, and a number of people have heard from folks on the island who have property, they're interested. So we're analyzing those properties and using some of my work tools that I use for battery storage development and just looking at, the grade and the wetness and, that sort of thing, the terrain and just aerial views of it. So still very preliminary.
Myra, do you plan on, does this committee plan on any future contact with the owner of the property on the West Bay Road at this point in time? I've had the contact with the fellow, and the son in the past, and we can open up that communication if it's of any use.
Okay, is that Cressica, I'll let you speak to that. I think, is that the Crates property or?
Yes.
That's the Crates property.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we're against it. I think what we have learned is that it's a more challenging site in terms of like the terrain and just the location it's great because it's right near where the line comes in across the water, but it's not great in other ways for building solar. However, it's not, I don't know, it's not totally off the table, but it's not the only one. So I think if we continue, as we look at different sites, and if we whittle it down and that one is one of them, then we would, of course, let you know that we're talking to them and kind of pick up that conversation again. So.
Because in some respects, it's a good site because the power coming from the mainland comes in under the bay at that point, at that particular point in the project. And it would be an ideal place for storage facility, energy storage facility along with the solar. Just keep that
Right,
in-
yeah. I
that's the
think
reason.
the terrain is kind of a limitation. So it's very hilly and lumpy. And so I don't know. So there's some considerations beyond the location itself of near the power line. But doesn't mean it's off the table. It's just kind of presents some other issues and like we want to see what other things are available besides that area. So.
Yeah, and I think we can close this pretty quickly. The point is that this will be an ongoing progressive evolution of installation, and nothing would start until we verify all of the basic parameters beforehand. Because things change, tomorrow there could be new rules. We would have to check as soon as we start design phase of anything to make sure that whatever we design is consistent with the rules of the time. But we don't know what those are right now, and we know what they are, but we don't know what they will be when we get to that stage. Right now, it's picking the first place, maybe the second place, maybe the third place, and figuring out how we're going to stage this. So we're a ways from design features, engineering.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is close to three-phase lines, and we have a lot of three-phase lines along the island. We're not a very wide island, so it kind of goes up and down the spine, and so that's helpful. We wouldn't be too far to make a tie-in on a property generally, but yeah, we just have to look and see who's offered their ideas up, their land up for viewing, and then kind of shuffle through it. So, but we'll keep everybody posted on all the best sites. And well, Dick, is there anything else you wanted to add in your, for your update?
One question, have we had any contact with the heat pump people who are, I think, today on the island? anybody contacted them? I think you've been a part of it too, on the energy.
Yeah, it's a Housing Energy Team
Yeah,
project.
just curious whether the committee has had anybody working with them on
Well, I was gonna get around to it eventually. You wanna hear the report on that now?
that. I don't know. I think that's up to Mara.
Well, yeah, I guess we can, what?
It's not currently on the agenda.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, but we can do it, well, Toby, if you want to give a quick update now, that would be great.
It actually is. I would, say it's coordination, communication with other groups when we get to that.
Okay, well, it's not listed under that, so that's just a heading at this time, but that's fine. We can do it then. Okay, okay, that's fine. So Dick, anything else on your end, or are you good for now?
Except the door is open for rate structure opportunities with Constellation.
Right, because now the rate went down to 10.4 cents. It will go down in January. So, and then maybe we'll get another change in next July. So, for CMP or the supply, the standard offer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, Dick. And Toby, thank you. We got your budget report. Does anybody have any questions about the budget report for Toby?
What I've tried to do is, do a chronological, approach. Starting, with the new fiscal year at the beginning of June. And, going to where we are now. And so far, we've spent, enough, so that we now have, according to the material I got from, the town office, we have a balance of around 37,658.20. And if we put together our budget and the items on hold, we end up with, about 49,000. Which brings up an issue that I think that we ought to talk about at some point pretty soon. And that is, how much are we going to be asking the town to fund for fiscal 2025? Because of the fact that we seem to be more ambitious in what we want to accomplish than we get from the town. The question is, what would we ask for and how would we justify it? So I think that's a future question we need to answer.
Okay, yep, definitely something we'll have to think about going forward.
And I
Okay.
really don't think the figures that we put down are more than guesses, so we don't know how those are actually gonna resolve. So we won't know that until the end of the fiscal year, but we still have to have a plan in place for what we're gonna ask for, because the town meeting and the fiscal year coincide. So we have to have our plan ready and be able to make a proposal.
So I have a question. We have down that we paid Evergreen in August and then an Evergreen balance down under on hold. So we only paid them half of what?
There was a total amount, and they asked for a down payment. That represents the down payment.
Okay, so.
So the balance is the bottom figure you see.
Okay,
That's supposedly going to be covered by the town, but we won't know, and the note explains that. We won't know that until the
Oh, I see.
auditor does his report in
Yeah.
February.
I see.
Right, exactly, yeah. So we have to wait until February to know that, how it's gonna
So
be spent.
cross your fingers.
Yeah. Okay. All right, nothing, thanks for the budget update, Toby. All right, let's chug along to the next topic, which is a discussion topic. So, last month we talked at length about the EV charger location and, Fred Porter's concerns about, fire risk and it being attached to the building. After that, Janet did send me some information from the risk pool, which I believe is, and Carrie, you can fix it, explain better if I mess it up. But the risk pool is kind of a group of towns, I guess, local towns that that discuss different safety issues, it seems. And so they bring up, you know, whatever is kind of things that people should be paying attention to. Is that right? Am I totally off on that?
You know more than I do.
Okay. It seems like some collective group bigger than than Islesboro, where they share safety information. And so EV charger location and fires was one of the issues. And then so Janet said, hey, you know what, let's really, you know, I'm going to make a request, please, you know, find a new place for this EV charger. And then Monica very kindly offered to spearhead this project. So thank you very much, Monica. Yeah. And Holly said she would help too, kind of as a buddy to just kind of support you, Monica, just navigating. Sometimes it can be a little tough. But and so where we are now is, and Cressica has been super helpful kind of connecting. So, you know, I mean, we know that we want to move it away from the building, but the issue is that there's, you know, this municipal building project and the redesign of the health center and the public safety office are coming. And it's not exactly clear what's going to happen. So Cressica kindly sent us some plans about where the EV chargers, like where they've set aside space for EV chargers in the municipal building plans. And I think that's a good start, but you know, I think we kind of just need to, wait to find out where it's going to be before we can really do anything. You know, the risk of fire is there, but it's kind of relatively low. I had some offline conversations with Fred Porter also, and he said that he's asked for and signed up for some training on how to, you know, work with these fires, what to do and how to prevent them. So I think, you know, we can maybe try to point them to information that, as much as we can, I mean, you know, we don't have to be fully responsible, but try to point them and support the fire, you know, public safety and fire teams towards, you know, ways to mitigate and to address fires, but knowing that like it doesn't really make sense for us to like pick it up and move it until we know really where it should go. Yeah, Harriet, it looked like you had.
Yeah, so that was gonna be my question, is what do you anticipate having a charger adjacent to or across the parking lot from this building as well as the new health center, or just up at the new health center?
So the overall plan is making sure to move the EV charger away from this
Right, that I
building,
get,
more
yeah.
so of the town office.
Yeah.
And
Has it,
Yeah.
has any planned an ideal location yet?
yes, Myra just said that Cressica shared us building plans with the municipal building and the health center. There's new locations and possibility of moving it.
So will we have to wait until those buildings are built before we can make the final decision?
Yes, that's the overall.
So why are we talking about this now?
Because Fred Porter brought it up and so did Janet Anderson, and there's a few people in the community that have concerns about electrical fire, and our fire trucks do not contain enough water
No.
to set it out.
But
But-
also we could theoretically move it sooner if they get the conduit for us,
Yep.
possibly, right?
Jill said it was easy, but I
Okay.
was thinking because Holly sent out an email to a few of us about a main newscast. There's a company called Cell Block Fire Containment. They actually work with products that help eliminate fires from lithium batteries because it's so hot and everything. And I was wondering, I don't know if it's pushing it, but we are working with Energy Prize for you know, clean energy, reserving energy. If we're gonna push for EV chargers, I think it would be great if there's a way for like either the Energy Hub or the Energy Committee would be able to find like a grant or find like donors and supporters to buy a few items from Cell Block Fire Containment, because the fire department does not have anything to deal with electrical car fire. So if like we can't move it right at this moment, I think it might be best to supply items that could help. And there's actually a few main towns that have a bucket with like items inside of it that helps them.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably do this with our budget too. I think we have a little, you know, we have a little bit of extra, especially if that 14 grand gets replaced, you know, repaid to us from the rebate. So, or not from the rebate, if the auditor allows us to carry it over and use last year's budget. So, yeah, I think Monica, maybe do you want to just price out like what that kit you know, and if we need more than one because, you know, whatever, you use one and they're only usable. I don't know exactly. I looked at it, but I didn't look at all the details. So yeah, to get one or two of those for them, that would be great. That's really, really smart. And yeah, I mean, honestly, you really shouldn't be using water at all to put out those fires because it actually creates a gas and it can be more noxious and it spreads. So yeah, it's just really not doable. So just like the product that Monica described is a really good option.
Is the risk of fire substantially greater when these cars are connected to the charger versus just driving around? Because, you know,
Potentially.
That's also another thing, and I think that'd be great for the energy committee, just kind of, because there's a lot of comments in the community that I hear that are like, why do we have this? Not everyone has electrical cars. They're gonna start having electrical fires. That's getting passed around in like chats and coming up at coffee. And it would be, I think, smart for the energy committee to put in like a mailing to say like, hey, heads up, these are a few things you can do if you start noticing like haywiring or a fire does happen. What are your next steps? Because not everyone's prepared for this type of fire.
Mara?
Yeah.
Very quickly after the last meeting, I did some searching. I didn't do a lot, and so this is incomplete, but the frequency of electric fires is lower than the frequency of gasoline fires. Now, that is, I think, proportional to the number on the road. I'd have to verify.
Yeah.
But still, the frequency is quite low. The fire is intense. The other thing I found is that there's a blanket that is available that's being used by a number of places. You don't move the car and you don't put water on it. You just put the blanket over it, let it burn out.
Yeah, I really like your idea of, you know,
I think that was the
maybe
kit
how we
there.
can use our resources
Mhm.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
this
fund some of that.
company has a
Yep.
few blankets and they
And
also have some
education,
really
yeah.
cool gloves that they can just touch anything that's on fire and it doesn't hurt
But
them.
the blanket can be installed at the head of the car, wherever the car is being charged, and if there's a fire, you can engage it quickly.
So
Yeah.
commercial-
Well,
Does that
Well,
mean
one
you-
thing, so
does
let me
that
say
mean
this, Toby,
you
hold on a
should
second,
be
Toby.
On salary committee,
No,
or what?
it doesn't mean.
Are we using
Yeah.
We have turned off the current charger.
it? Okay,
The circuit
And
breaker
until-
is turned off.
until final decision,
And
Yeah, it's
we
being
were
turned
asked,
off.
we were asked to turn it off, and we've done that.
okay.
Blankets, by the way, commercially available, we have in our kitchen at the house right now.
The one thing too, we might want to think about, Monica, is in addition to getting one for the town office, maybe getting one, or I don't know, for the ICC or the ICC might want to get one too, Bill. I don't know. I mean, they're not really a
More
municipal
research into the
building, so.
frequency of this. I mean, these don't happen very often, and we'll
I
have
know,
to-
I know. It's just that people are, you know, nervous. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that go onto a charger. I mean, also the charger itself and the car like interact and it controls like the speed of charging. So, you know, that prevents like mitigates any sort of overheating. So, you know, it is pretty low, but I think to Monica's point,
For the
you know,
town.
whether
Yeah.
people are nervous and like, you know, if it costs us a couple $100 or $500 or whatever, $1,000 to make people feel better, I'm happy to do that, right? Like I
Sure.
you know, I mean, that makes our job easier and, you know, it is possibly safer if there's a problem, we have something to do. So, yeah. I think that's
And it
good.
would be great to be able to get these items for the fire department and even possibly a bucket by the library because there's only 10, 12 people on the team. So, and
Yeah, right, exactly. Like a regular person can just do it and like know what to do. That's a really good point. Yeah, yeah. Well, if you want to price out in the kits and like the options, that would be awesome. And then, yeah, and just so everybody knows, like the plans that we got that Cressica shared with us, the EV charger would go basically, yeah, across the street from the existing town office and health center building. There'll be like not across the street, across the parking lot. So across the parking lot, they're going to be creating a new smaller parking lot and off of that. And there would be EV chargers. There could be EV chargers in there. And then another part, you know, also kind of across from the building. So they're definitely in the right place, but you know, it's just not clear right now where they'll be. So, you know, it doesn't make sense to move it. I think the best thing obviously is turning it off and maybe once we get these products, and kind of garner a little more trust, perhaps then, we can turn it back on and they won't care as much. So I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are. And thank you so much, Monica, for helping us with that, and Cressica for sharing, and yeah, just keep us updated, Cressica, on plans and stuff. 'Cause I'm sure you will. Thank you. Okay. So the last thing we have for discussion is just ETIP exit interview. So last week, Jamie who is our new liaison at the Island Institute, he asked us to do an exit interview for ETIP. It's the, oh God, Energy Transitions what's the I stand for? I always mess that up. Initiative Partnership Program. Such a bizarre name. I don't know why they chose it. Anyway,
It's government.
maybe it's my, huh?
It's government. What do you expect?
I know, but I'm like, okay, it doesn't spell anything cool. Like, I don't understand. Anyway, usually they'll go to those great lengths if it spells a cool word with the acronym. But anyway, so Cressica and Bill and I admittedly wasn't able to join for most of the meeting because I had to do a work meeting, but I did attend for a little bit, and we had an exit interview kind of giving our experience with that program. And I don't know, Bill or Cressica, do you want to give like just a couple high level bullet points? We've talked about this before. There's nothing that we told them. Nothing new. All the same feedback remains that we have talked about, but do you want to just high level repeat it for those that may not have heard it before?
There were two
members.
So if I forget something, Cressica, just remind me, okay? One, we talked about communication issues within the committee and between the committee and the NREL group. And we were surprised at first to learn that we were not alone, that those issues had come up amongst other groups, and that is something that needs to be dealt with. We said that we were very positive about the fact that the ETIP, we mentioned that we still don't have the official report, and that's bothersome. It doesn't really stop us, but it should be better, okay? We liked the fact that ETIP underscored some of the plans that we had talked about ourselves and gave credence to thinking that the committee had generated years before. And that it gives authority to those plans and gives more weight to those ideas when we take them to the community. There was one other thing, for heaven's sake. Oh, yes, the big absence in this program is seed money. The fact that after you get the report, you have nothing with which to begin to implement. And so you're expected to write grant proposals and ask for funding on the basis of having done nothing successfully in the interim. And so it turns out that there again, people from all over the country made the same comments, that if you're going to give us an authoritative plan to implement, give us some money to start with so we can demonstrate what we can do. So I think, was there anything else that?
Yeah, that sounds.
Those were the issues, and we've talked about almost all of those over the past 2 to 3 years in committee.
What was the name of the person who did this interview with?
Jamie Cook.
Jamie.
Yeah, from the Island Institute. He's our new liaison from the Island Institute, Carrie.
Yep.
So is the exit discussion pending on getting the report or vice versa, or are they separate?
We didn't get the report yet, and we had the interview, so I think they're separate.
And the fact of the matter, it's actually even more comical than that, because we had an exit interview with Emily last summer. So I think this is as much for Jamie coming on, struggling to get his feet in the water here, as it was for the NREL group. So we just did it. And
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. We did have that
So
already.
Tony, I think the answer is, who knows, literally, you know?
Yeah, they're not very clearly organized. I mean, yeah, it does it bemuses and slightly disturbs me that, like, they're on cohort 3, we're cohort 1, and we haven't even gotten a report yet. I'm like, well, who's doing what, we're there. So, but I
But
think
in fact,
to
we have
Bill's
all the
point,
information we need.
yeah,
that's
we
all.
have what we need. We got that, the presentation, which has the data, most of the data from the report that they created. So that's helpful. So I think, we have enough, but anyway, yeah. Okay, Great. Well, thank you, Bill and Cressica, for that update on the ETIP exit interview. Okay, I'm just moving along here. The coordination with other groups. So Toby, do you want to give us a quick update on what's going on with the energy team? I think that's what you wanted to talk about.
Right. Well, first of all, there are 2 articles coming out in paper that talk about the energy conference and the bulk buy program that the energy team created to handle heat pumps. And Janice Petzl took on that responsibility and has done an absolutely amazing job putting it together and making it successful. The end result of her work in the first stage, once she had made an arrangement with the contractor, the installing team, to say yes to a bulk buy program, was to hold a session at the library, which a lot of people attended and were very responsive to. And the follow-up to that was that information went out on all the Algebra media, Facebook, and Constant Contact, which you probably all saw at some point. And out of that came at least 50 very positive responses to interest in the heat pump bulk buy program, which came from one of the people that we invited to our conference that some of you may have met and talked to, Andrea Askendon. And her program was successful in the town because she organized it, did a great job with her husband, and we followed suit. And we're inspired by it. So as a result of that, we came up with a plan to initiate a question in the community of who'd be interested, and if so, it would be available with the first round being possible in the middle of December. So people needed to get their interests to us and respond to definitely serious. So we built contracts around the material that had been created by Andrea Askendon and her group. And those contracts were submitted to the people who showed interest. And out of that group of 50 strongly potential people, we now have 30 or so who are now this week having installations made in their homes. So that's only the first step, because the next step is the leftovers, if you will. The people who said, well, we're really interested, but we can't get our acts together in time for December. Please don't quit on us. We want to be involved in round 2. So the plan is to do round 2 sometime in, well, let's say between February and April, but the timeline isn't definite yet. So I would say it's a rousing success, and it's the kind of thing that I think definitely the Hub program could initiate as well and be just as successful. And I'm hoping we can advise and help out with that wherever that's possible. But we're certainly pleased with what's happened so far with this one. So that's pretty much it.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I mean, well, and when she was with us, and Kizzy also did attend, that event, and, kind of saw and tried to be supportive as well. So, we were there and definitely took note. So yeah, that's great. Thank you for the update, and great work. Glad all those folks are getting heat pumps. Okay, well, I think we are at the end of our schedule, of our agenda. So the next meeting is, I don't think we have any homework other than, kind of just keep on keeping on. Everybody's doing great, and keep up the good work. Thank you very much. And I don't think, we don't need reminders. We're all kind of in it. And I just want to say thank you. You know, y'all, everybody's doing really well. Everybody's really engaged and doing work, and most folks are on projects. So I think it's really exciting, and I'm proud, and I'm happy we're doing this. So thank you. And
Could I make one suggestion? We have, coordination, communication with other groups. Homework for next meeting adjourned. There's no new business on this, agenda, and I've never seen it. I'd like to suggest we add that. And that we provide time for it, because people come to meetings, with ideas, but they haven't formally brought them up for the agenda. So, I'd like to propose that we provide that option. We can use it or not use it as it happens.
yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you for the suggestion. I'm a little, because our meetings are so packed, I don't necessarily think just adding a new business section and letting people speak about it, although I wish we could have long discussions about that.
Well,
Be
I have,
great in
I have a
terms of
bunch of
time.
ideas, but I'm not gonna bring them up now, because I think people are afraid of running over and being, interfering with dinner, but,
Well, yeah, Toby, let me finish what I was saying, please. So what I was saying is that if there are suggestions for agenda items, like if you have an idea that you want to put on the agenda, please tell me ahead of time. Then I can put it on the agenda and it's planned in, and then we have enough time to talk about it. Unless you want some sort of like brainstorming session, in which case that's a different animal, but we could also plan for that. So that's what my idea would be, to kind of like, hey, I got 10 ideas. Can we put one of these on the discussion, you know, for like 10 minutes or something?
well, as we discussed things tonight, new ideas came up, and I think, we should always have an option to, say, I have an idea and here's what it is. I'd like to put it on next meeting's agenda, and not take time for it now. And that could be one of the things that we add to the agenda, because there's a lot going on that we could do that we're not doing, and those ideas get lost if somebody doesn't think about them, to prepare for a meeting that's coming up next.
Myra just gave you a mechanism for implementing that. And you can write to the committee at any time with an idea, with a.
Even tonight. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you could just write to me or call me or something, or write to the committee as a group and say, hey, I'd love to talk about this next time, so that we could talk about it. But I just, you know, for now, we could try it out. If it really puts a dent in our idea churning, then we can revisit this. But just only in the interest of time, that I think it's easier if we just, if you're like, hey, oh, had a great idea. Of course we have great ideas, and that's awesome. And I hope we do continue to have them. So let's, like, you know, say, hey, next week or next month, let's put it on the agenda. That would be easier, I think, for all of us. And then, you know, then we can have set aside real time to talk about it. And if people know ahead of time, maybe they have thoughts on your idea and can also kind of get those prepared in their mind and also share. So it kind of gives everybody a chance to think about and prepare for any sort of discussion.
Myra, I will add that that's exactly how, item 2 on the agenda came about. I talked with you about it, and that's exactly how it happened.
Exactly. Yeah. You said, hey, can we talk about policy and rates? And then, you know, yeah, we put it on the agenda. So yeah, so Toby, if you don't mind, with new things, that would be helpful. Is that okay with just letting us know that you'd like to add something? It doesn't have to be lengthy, and you could say, I have, you know, whatever, but does that work for you?
Toby,
Toby, I don't know if you heard me.
Toby. Yes.
Well, my feeling is, it's a standard policy in most organizations to have new business on their agenda, and why we don't have it, I don't understand.
Well, that's a discussion for another day, maybe. I gotta run and wrap this up, and I don't think, you know, we've had this agenda for style for as long as I've been on the committee, and I don't see how it's been difficult or not working for us, other than your concern now. So as the chair, I suggest that we try to add these agenda items ahead of time, And if we really feel as a group that we're not getting enough churning, we're not addressing the new ideas fast enough, then we can think about it. But let's just try that approach, if you don't mind, please, going forward. And then, we can revisit it in a couple of months if it doesn't work.
Yeah, most of us are pretty busy with what we're doing right now.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, I don't know how much juice we have to do a lot more ideas, that's the other concern. But, it doesn't mean we can't hear it, or, maybe there's thoughts on other issues. But I think, we can also have conversations over email. If someone says, hey, like, what do y'all think about this? We do it all the time. We did it about the EV chargers. We're doing it with other things too. So, Toby, if there's something you want to like start an email chain on to get some ideas or traction on some of your ideas, then that's also totally fine. So yeah.
I feel like discussion is new business. You can
Well,
call it.
that's the other thing too. Yeah,
/new business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, but usually that's very planned, Carrie. So that's not like necessarily a space for just someone kind of coming in and saying, hey, I have an idea right in the moment. That's why I didn't kind of consider it, but
Right.
yeah, so
It's my idea about bringing fire safety wrong because I'm actually in the meeting minutes where I was supposed to speak about those things. Is that what you're talking about? My new idea? My
No.
question is why you just aggressively pointed at me? What's that?
No, I was just saying, I liked what you said when you were talking about the fire station.
Okay.
It was,
okay.
it helped.
Can you
And
ask
it
me
helped,
what's on
that- that we got a nice note from Josh that he reported that the repairs are made.
Yeah.
And I think that's the communication we need,
Yeah.
among others.
I agree.
Okay. Well, so I have to wrap this up myself personally, but if everybody wants to keep going, we can. Okay. So if everybody, did somebody make the motion to adjourn? I couldn't hear.
Somebody did, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, did somebody second that motion? Cool, great. All right, everybody in favor, we have to go do the roll call. So Myra Sinnott, aye. Monica Mullins,
Fine.
right? Harriet
Yes.
Daring, right? Cressica Brazier,
Hi.
Bill Thomas,
I,
Dick DeGrasse,
Right.
Toby
Yes.
Martin. Okay, and I think that's it, right?
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for a great meeting and all your great work. And we'll see each other next month and we'll keep talking over email, I'm sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I know. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope everybody has a great one and happy new year. Take care.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Okay, bye.
You,